And a big concern for me, as I said to you before, Jamie, we've been crying out for a left wing back. They buy one, and it tells me his head's a little bit fried. It's a little bit confused at the minute. He plays him right wing back and keeps Darlow.
I did feel like that was maybe kind of like a Luke Shaw, Jose Mourinho thing, where he kind of just kept him on his side so he could speak to him, because he didn't have any training sessions with the club.
Maybe he should have walked around to the other side.
Adam, Man United.
Oh,
I mean, I'm going to ask you a question now. How long could it go on in terms of not just the results, because you're winning the odd one here and there, but the actual performances carry on going like that, where you might start thinking, have we actually got the right man here?
I haven't got to that stage with the manager yet.
Well, do you think you could get there before the end of the season if these performances don't?
The one thing that does worry me is if we were to drop out the cup competitions, and then you'd have nothing to play for. Like, I don't think there's really any motivation in the squad for the league games at the moment. Like, we're fighting to go away 11th. Like, I can see there's no motivation in those games, and it comes across in some of the performances. So I think the cup competitions are really important for us this season, especially with the added bonus that if you can do something in the Europa League, you'll somehow make sure you're in the Champions League next season, which is really important, especially when you look at the PSR issues the club are facing, you know, potentially looking at selling some of the younger players and things like that, which is very unlike the club that I've grown to love over the years. Like, it is important that you get into the Champions League, and winning the Europa League could put you in that position. And I think I was looking at the financial stats of how much Liverpool have already made this year in Champions League revenue. Like, it's massive for clubs to be in there. And I think if we were out of the cup competition, I think that's when people start to worry a little bit. But I'm
Do you not think that's happening?
I'm impressed with the manager, but the football needs to get better.
You don't think it's happening now? I'm not at the point where I'm thinking it's the wrong decision, because he's come into a mess and it still feels like a mess. But there has to be, with the league, not so much the league form, the way they're playing, even in you're talking about cup competitions there. And a big concern for me, as I said to you before, Jamie, we've been crying out for a left wing back. They buy one, and it tells me his head's a little bit fried. It's a little bit confused at the minute. He plays him right wing back and keeps Darlow.
I did feel like that was maybe kind of like a Luke Shaw, Jose Mourinho thing, where he kind of just kept him on his side so he could speak to him, because he didn't have any training sessions with the club.
Maybe he should have walked around to the other side then.
Just go stand by the lineup.
How did he know he was going to win the toss-up for the kick-off?
Oh, that's a good point. We always kick towards the Stretford end of the second half, Jamie. But it's a good point, actually.
I was going to ask you, Scholes, when you talk about the performance of, you've just mentioned the wing back. So that when you're wanting sort of belief in your manager, you look at those things. I saw Mainoo playing like as a false 9 the other day, and I know he'd said in the week he thinks he's more of a number 10 than a centre midfielder. He's not as good defensively as whatever.
I get that.
And then he puts him as I don't know, just little things like that. If I was Man United, I'd worry me a little bit. You know, be thinking, as you said, with the new player playing on the other side, Mainoo's position.
There are a few things that are concerning. I think there's a lot of stuff he needs to do. We all know that, especially in transfer windows. But I don't see a core of players. I think when you look at teams, you look right down the spine of a team. Liverpool, great goalkeeper, great centre half, forwards, midfield player, whatever it is. I don't think United have any of that in any position. I think a new goalkeeper is needed. Possibly 2 centre halves, 2 centre midfield players, and 2 centre forwards.
I disagree.
I go for 1 centre midfield, for 1 centre forward, but with a bit of stature, a bit of quality, and really create a spine. When you've got that spine right, I think, Jamie, then you can add bits to it. Now, I think Mainoo, he's lost. I talked about Declan Rice being lost before. I think Mainoo's lost as well. I don't think they know what to do with him. I don't think he knows where to play on a football pitch. Because he's been played in that, one of the number 10 positions. He has been played in the 2 in the midfield, which you can see probably doesn't succeed. I don't think he's the greatest athlete. He's a great footballer. I think the number 10 does suit the false 9. Never in a million years. But that spine, that core is so important. If they don't get that right this summer, this might sound ridiculous. But the form since this manager's been in, they could be looking at
No, it's
being in that relegation.
the form's dreadful.
I'm
But
telling you, it's been so bad.
I think I look at like the Kobe Mainoo thing. I think he does suit the 10 position better. I think when you look at all his good moments for Manchester United, the goal against Wolves, Liverpool, the cup final performance, a lot of his good things have come in the final third and that from that left-hand side. So I think he does suit that a little bit. Playing him up top in the false nine, that felt to me like it was a bit of a message towards the board with the transfer window just closing. Maybe
Yeah, because he's got the two
suggesting that-
centre forwards there and he didn't play. Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
get
at the
that,
same
yeah.
time, you say we need two centre backs, we need two midfielders. I do disagree with that. I think I've started to. I like what I see from Leny Yoro. I think he'll grow into the game. I think he's a good footballer, good centre back.
Look, he's a
lid's
young
been
player, but
impressive.
I haven't liked what I've seen so far.
Really?
Did you see the Southampton game?
He had a bad one against Southampton.
No, look, he's
but I
a
think
player,
those are
and-
learning curves. Isn't it?
he's-
Sometimes players are just going to have you.
Yeah, but he's one centre half I would keep. When I'm talking about bringing that span of the team, two centre halves, he's one that adds
You're
into
not rate
that.
Delit.
He didn't
What-
rate him from the first show.
No,
the fan did
yeah,
rate
I
him.
know.
yeah.
I've been surprised by that because I think.
Where
Delit's
are your
been quality.
ambitions are when you say rating? I'm talking about getting a team to win the Premier League. You're going to win the Premier League with De Ligt and Yoro as your centre halves?
I don't know. I think there's been many players over the year. You go, how have we won the league with some of them? But
Yeah.
I do think these players are quite good.
What about that Lino? Are you going to give him a new deal? Tell you what, he got away with one. Big
He was like all of us, just happy to get out of Old Trafford on
Adam,
Friday.
you just said you think they're quite good.
No, but
He's quite
I
good
think in
enough-
Matic
good enough.
you've got a player there. Lissandro Martinez, unfortunately, injured. I don't know if we
Yeah,
can
but
rely on
even when
someone like
he's
that.
fit, he's not good enough to win the Premier League with.
Maybe Leach.
Unless
But I do think Delit's a player, man. I think there's a player in there. I think he's a good leader. I think he plays well from the middle, and I've been impressed with him since he. since
His
he came
age
in.
and his amount of clubs already concerns me.
I do disagree.
You disagree, all right? He's brilliant at Ajax. He seems to be getting worse as he's got older. I think Bayern Munich, Juventus, they've let him go for some reason.
Adam, you know the changes Scholes he's talking about. You know, we probably all agree Man United probably would need 7 or 8 players to go straight into the team if they were going to sort of challenge, you know, for, you know, probably even Champions League positions. But what is realistic? I mean, do you know the financial situation probably a bit more than us? I mean, what is realistic that Man United can do in the summer?
I think once you sell a few players, and I think it's important, that's why they're looking at these academy players, because once you sell them, it's pure profit and you can spend like 3x that amount in that transfer window. That's why I think that we're looking at Garnacho potentially leaving. If Marcus Rashford does leave United and we get 30, 40 million for him, I think we'll be in a similar position. I think it will be looking at some of those younger players maybe making their way so that we can free up some funds. But I think over the last 2 or 3 years, our wage bill has dropped like massively. The amount of players we've been taking off the wage bill, and I think that will continue this summer. You got Lindelof who leaves on a free. I think Casemiro will be off. I think a lot of these players that are on big money will be off, and a lot of them have already left. So
What did you think about them taking the option on Maguire?
I'd sell him in the summer. Like I think he's done well. I was buzzing to see he scored and allowed us to leave Old Trafford after 90 minutes on Friday. I think he has done well, and I think he's improved. But he's a bit like Onana for me now, where I'm done with Onana, and I think Onana is one of those players where he could somehow win Golden Glove in a campaign because he's a good goalkeeper. But he's always going to have those moments where he chucks it in his own net. He's always, we talk about wanting to win the league, wanting to win the Champions League. I don't think you can ever do anything like that with Onana. So I'm kind of the same with Maguire. I think he'll have those moments where he'll look good, he'll look solid, but he's always going to have a moment where he sticks one in his own net. I think I'd get rid, cash in while you can.